Hi there, I'm Katy for RustiKate, and today we're going to be doing a fun project. I have a vintage placemat, which I think is so cute. It's like retro vintage 1950s. It's been in the family a long time, and years ago I decided to do a tatted edging on it. I got almost one side done. You can see there's about 1.5 inches not complete on it yet. And then I stopped and it went into storage. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the matching edging for the other side, and I'm going to share that with you. In the information below this video, there is a link that you can follow to get the free pattern to do this edging. So get your tatting supplies together and let's get started. So I've gone ahead and threaded my needle. I'm just going to use this standard amount for this. If I knew I was making a really long edging or a really long piece of trim, then I would do a longer tail, but I'm just going to do the standard about a foot. You could do 2 feet if you want, but I'm just going to do a foot or 12 inches of a tail on here, and then I'm going to hold it, run my left hand down the thread towards the thread ball, and do about 2 feet between where the thread comes out of the needle and where I start my tatting. So we're going to start with a ring. We're going to do 3 double stitches. And if at any time this video is moving too fast, you can go into the settings, and I'll have information below the video on this. You can go into the settings and turn the speed down. So 3 double stitches. We're going to do a picot, 2 more double stitches. And for me, I always count the double stitch as the actual stitches. The picot is just the loop. So 3 on this side, 2 on this side, and then you're going to do another picot, and then 6 double stitches. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then a picot, 2 double stitches, picot, right like that. 3 double stitches, so we've got 1 already, 2, and 3. So this one, let me bring the example over here. So for this one, we're making this very first ring right here. Right, at this point, we're ready to close our ring. So you close it, you're going to slide it off the back of the needle. You can adjust those tail threads if you need to make sure it's going to come through easy. Like that. And then you should have this loop starting to form. You're going to pass your needle through that. I like to do it from the back side. So from the back of the loop to the front, pull it tight, and it's going to form your ring. Now I always make a knot. I just go over the top. This is the thread going to the thread ball. This is the thread going to the needle. So I go over the thread ball thread around to make my own really loop, and then just pull it tight. And that just makes a basic knot at the top of the ring that's going to keep it secure so it doesn't come loose. Now this edging is using a thread spacer technique. So instead of making a chain, you're just going to make a thread gap with your finger, right like that. And then you're going to start your next ring up here. So depending on how big you want that space to be is how big a gap you're going to leave between the top of this ring and the start of your next ring. And I'm going to leave about 1/2 inch. If you're very precise, you can measure it. You can even, I've seen people make a little mark on their finger with tape, but for me, I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to say, sometimes actually can pick a wrinkle on your finger or like part of your fingerprint and use that as your guide. I'm just going to eyeball it and go about 1/2 inch, right like that. And I'm going to start my next ring. My next ring is going to be 5 double stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1 picot and 5 more double stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're ready to close it. And the only tricky part when you're doing the thread spacer in needle tatting is you're going to have 2 threads. Oftentimes when you're doing it in shuttle tatting, there's only 1 thread at this point. But for this, with the needle tatting, you'll have 2 threads. And so when you go to close a ring, let me see if I can show you this. I'm going to take it really slow. You're going to slide it off like you're closing your ring, because you are, but you don't want to pull it all the way tight or you'll lose that spacer. So what I do, I take it slow. I hold my finger right here on that first double stitch tight so that it does slide, but it slides slower and more controlled. And then once I get these 2 threads about the same length, then I'm going to squeeze it even tighter so that it won't close and use up all of that thread space. So if you can see it right now, both those threads are about the same size. Now I'm going to take my needle from the back again up through. But what I'm going to do is put pressure right here. So if I put pressure right here, I can pull, so pressure right here, I can pull the threads together without losing the thread space. So hopefully you can see that. And you will sometimes get some stretch so that that thread spacer ends up a little longer, but you can plan for that. But you can see how that's come together. You have a clearly defined ring shape and your thread spacer. So then you're going to hold it nice and tight, and you're just going to make your knot to close that ring and hold it secure. So at this point, it's stable and it's not going to come out. You're not going to lose any more. You're not going to lose this thread spacer at all. So then you're going to go ahead and make your next thread spacer in the same way, but you're going to make another one of these. And this time we're going to be joining 2 of the picots. So we're going to go back, leave a 1/2 inch, start the large ring again. So 3 double stitches like that. And then we're going to join. We're going to join to that free picot right there that's closest. Right like that. And let me do it again. So in case you're not familiar with joining, you're going to take it really slow. You go needle front to back through the picot, loop your thread around the back of the needle and over the top, and then you kind of bend it like that. So you're pulling the needle towards you while you take your finger that has tension on it backwards, and that's going to keep your thread on the needle as you pull it through. Right like that. So now you're joined to that picot of the previous ring and you're ready to continue. So you're going to do 2 double stitches. And then you're ready to join again to this. This is a little bit different pattern in that you're joining to 2 picots on the same ring relatively close together. She's going to do the same thing and pull it back. Right like that. Now you're joined to both of them. You're going to go ahead and follow the pattern and do 6 double stitches. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 more. Right like that. Then you're going to do a picot. 2 double stitches, so you've got 1 and 2. Then you're going to do a picot, and then 3 double stitches. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're ready to close this ring. And we're just doing it in the similar fashion. We're taking it slow there at the end because we have these thread spacers. Get the thread spacer about the same, and then you're going to do pressure right here. And where I'm doing pressure at is actually on this original thread spacer and at the base of that ring. And that just, like I said, helps it so that the thread spacer that we're pulling isn't going to disappear. So when you get it roughly to the right shape and size, then you're going to make your knot. That's going to hold it together and make it stable. So you can see this is starting to come together. I'm going to do one more of the small ones, one more large one, and one more small one to kind of show you how the pattern is going to repeat. So again, we're going to do a thread spacer, and then we're going to make a small ring. So thread spacer, and then 5 double stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now what we're going to do, we're going to join this small ring to that previous small ring. So we're just going to insert through the picot, pull the thread through, right like that, and then we're going to do 5 more double stitches. Oh, let me double check. I might have too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, we've got 5. Okay, so we're going to close it. But making sure not to lose that tail thread because we need it to be our thread spacer. So this is actually really good practice in thread tension. Okay, take it slow and just go right like that and make our knot. You can see how this is starting to make that shape and come together. So I'm going to do a thread spacer and make one more big one. So we're going to do the 3, and then we're going to join to that next ring, the free picot. And I like to say, because I do this myself, I like to say, if there's any point at which you're stuck, refer back to the photo, because the photo can help you not only know what it's supposed to be shaping up like, but it also, I have done so many patterns. I've tried to tap from so many patterns in books and old archives where something in the pattern is just off. So if you refer to the picture, sometimes the picture can give you a more correct idea of what you're doing or what it's supposed to look like than what the text is saying. So always, whether you're stuck or whether the pattern isn't written well, refer back to the, or it's even sometimes it's just not written in the way we particularly need. And so just always refer back to the photo if you can, if there is a photo. All right, so 2 double stitches. And then we're going to join to that next picot, right like that. Then we're going to do 6 double stitches. Picot, 2 double stitches, picot, and 3 double stitches. Oop, missed that one. Okay, So now we're ready to close. Just take it slow. Just take it slow. Right like that. So I'm going to show how to make one more of the small rings, and then I will skip ahead and show you what it looks like when more of it is made. So again, this is 5 double stitches for the small ring. Now the difference with this is, and let me bring back the example. This time, when I show you this, you can start to see how the small rings form this scallop shape. So the last two I made were these two. So now this ring is going to be part of the second scallop. So that's what I'm going to be showing you here. So these two are the first scallop. So I've got 5 double stitches, 1 picot, and then you're going to do 5 more, and then close that ring. Right like that. So let me show you what this looks like if I lay it down on the table and get my hands out of the way. Okay, so this part down here is going to be the part you're going to sew to your fabric, whatever that item might be. This is your first scallop, and this small ring here is the first ring in your second scallop. So this is going to be your second scallop. This is the start of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it here briefly. I'll work ahead. Okay, so here we have it. All I've done since the last video is I went down, I did another large ring, one more small ring, joined it to that one, and then did one more large ring. So you're just going to, at this point, follow the pattern and just continue for however long you need it to be for the item you're attaching it to. All right, so here we are with the trim that I've been making. This is the old one. That's the inspiration piece that I did years ago on the vintage placemat. Needs to be ironed, as you can see. And then here's the new one that I made while I was developing the pattern, and that I filmed a bit of while I was making. So this one is the reversed direction of this. So you could actually use this 2 different ways. This trim could go on in 2 different directions. So you could mount it on the fabric like this. Let me show you really fast. I'm just gonna lay it next to it so you can get the idea. So you could attach the trim like that, or you could rotate it and attach it like this. I hope you really enjoyed this project, and if you did, make sure and give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and when you do subscribe, make sure and hit that notification bell so you'll get notified of all new content. Likewise, if you've been a subscriber for a long time but you don't get notified when things are posted, it's probably because of that notification bell. So hit the notification bell and you will get notified of new content, and we can stay in touch much easier. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.